starting lineup for the Keeping It Real show. From Oak Point, Texas, it's the Tokyo Tex, the Kamikaze Cowboy, the Sukiyaki Jockey, the MOT, the Man of Trail, Tim Kimura! And from the home of the San Antonio Spurs, the captain of the team, the man with the dream, the man behind the wheel for Keeping It Real, Brad Jewett!
Hello, everybody. Let us know where you're tuning in from tonight. I'm Brad Jewett.
I'm Tim, the trail man.
Keeping it real.
And now, Brad and Tim.
You forgot your sunglasses. And now, the starting lineups for the Keeping It Real show. From Oak Point, Texas, the Kamikaze Cowboy, the Tokyo Tex, the Sukiyaki Jockey, the MOT, the man of trail, Tim Kamara. And from the home of the San Antonio Spurs, the captain of the team, the man with the dream, the man behind the wheel at Keeping It Real, Brad Jewett. Blue Crew in the house tonight. Tim coming at us live from Colorado.
Elizabeth, Colorado.
Elizabeth, Colorado.
Beautiful.
Back to work, Tim is. Back to work.
So, I jumped off that airplane, 1 hour drive over to Elizabeth, set my computer up in about 10 minutes, and away we go.
And clear as a bell, man. Clear as a bell. You look great. How's the foot?
Better. Closer. I wore the boot today, but it felt really good.
That's
so
fine.
by
Wear
tomorrow,
the boot as long as you're getting better. Wear the dang boot.
I know. First clinic. I haven't cliniced in 3 months, man. I'm loving it.
You're ready to roll.
I'm super excited.
I feel sorry for everybody that's there because you're probably going to talk like really, 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 really fast.
Like Ryan Cottingham.
Hey, before we bring the Blue Crew in, we want to thank our sponsors, of course. They will be taking probably 2 commercial breaks tonight because we've got a big show tonight with the Blue Crew. I also want to thank all of the, I'm going to call them the donators. How about that, Tim? I don't know. Is that like a real word or not? I don't know. But anyway, we thank everybody that has donated. If you would wish to donate to help keep the Keeping It Real show on the air, it is at thekeepingitrealshow.com, thekeepingitrealshow.com. Go there. It's real simple. Press the donate button and just follow the prompt. It's a super, very, very quick process. So thank you to all that have done that. And I wanted to update everybody. We have been delayed on getting all of our current episodes up on YouTube, but I'm happy to say that everything is up to date and current on YouTube. So every episode that you want to see is there. Tim, your Fu Manchu is looking great, man.
I know. I'm working it, man.
It's
I got a
looking
haircut today,
great.
too. You know that?
Man, I got to get one of those. I'm saving it until right before the big A, you know?
Yes, sir. Tell Kona I apologize. I keep moving so much, but I'm excited.
You're excited. That's what we like, man. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Hey, let's bring in the Blue Crew. Mandy Gately, Ryan Cottingham in the house. Come on, there's one of them. There's the other one, buddy. Let us know where you're tuning in from tonight. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. But you guys can tell us where you're tuning in from tonight. That's still good. That's nothing wrong with that. Thank y'all for coming in. How you doing tonight?
Good.
You got sound? All right. Making sure we got sound. Tennessee.
I was a little surprised. Hey, Ryan.
Uh-oh.
Ryan.
Sir.
Look what I brought tonight.
Uh-oh.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Blue Crew. Blue number 1 team, man.
Is the big side tape, Tim, or the little side?
The blue team. It's because Ryan doesn't like anybody eating the mints on the big side.
One at a
Only
time.
one at a time.
He's helping.
One at a time.
Yeah.
Do not put it back in the jar.
Yeah.
Where's that Becky George girl that, right?
He's helping to not spread that COVID-19 virus right there is what he's doing.
So
Right.
my first question before we dig in is, what you guys been doing for the last 2-3 months? Okay.
Biden. Doing what?
We've just been riding. Doing a lot of riding.
Nothing wrong with that.
So did you?
Doing their job.
Was it weird because you got to do some projects at home and stay home and get your horses rode more and lessoning at home and stuff like that? It's kind of weird that we had the time off, but it was kind of good to have the time off sometimes.
Yeah, definitely kind of weird, but we buckled down. Felt like we really concentrated on our horses, but then we took some projects in the evenings and on the downtime to try to get things kind of organized here at the farm. So it all went well.
Did you enjoy it? I really actually enjoyed it. I missed the horse shows, probably a lot for the income piece of it, but I really enjoyed my time at home. I was really able to sink into my clients things that I really hadn't gotten to them because we've just kind of been doing horse show to horse show to horse show because I have some new clients. So I loved it for that piece. Do you guys find the same thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed.
Yeah. You get to get a little bit more in depth into your program, right? Like what happens when you lift your feet? Like they maybe started to actually feel, oh my gosh, yeah, their back really does come up, instead of like at the horse show, you're just saying, okay, here, I want you to lift your feet. And they're like, okay. But now they're like, oh, I'm supposed to feel that. Oh, okay. All right. Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we were able to bring our young horse along. This is a time of year where we typically don't get to do that.
Yeah.
Because we're horse showing, right? So I felt like mechanically we're sounder now. We learned a lot by that, right? Like
sure.
we learned some of those ins and outs of maybe the importance of being home some during this time period. So
absolutely.
Yeah, it was good.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna start.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of notes here, buddy. Let's rock and roll.
Okay, Amanda. Can I just say something for Mandy? Like for years, I always spelled her name wrong. I feel so.
Mandy or Amanda?
Robert too. But I'm better about putting the I on Mandy now, so I'm just saying. I changed.
It's not just you. It's okay. It's not just you.
Okay. So tell us where you were born and tell us about your parents a little bit and kind of how you got involved with horses. Just take it.
Okay. I was born in Kalispell, Montana. And when I was 3, my parents moved to just outside Seattle, Washington. And I kind of grew up just around the training program my whole life. My dad actually worked on the slopes in Alaska and showed cutters for fun as an amateur. And so I grew up kind of riding his old cutting horse. And then once we moved to Seattle, I was 7. And for Christmas, I got my first horse.
Wow. And then did you say about what your mother did too and stuff like that?
Well, eventually my dad started training more reiners, and my mom was an all-around paint trainer.
There you go.
And still is. Yeah.
And then, so how about like your early days of showing? How'd that go down?
I showed from point I was 8. I showed probably walk trot until I was 11. I showed 1 year of 4-H where I learned how to lope in the show pen. And then I showed in the all-around paint circuit as a 13 under, 14 through 18. My 13 under horse, I showed in everything from over fence classes to Western riding to horsemanship, showmanship, egg. I did pretty much everything but the Western pleasure with him. And then when I got into my 14 through 18 years, we brought a young horse and kind of brought it along. Did a little bit of all around, but really excelled in the Western pleasure.
So back in those type of days, where were the horse shows located that you would be going to?
So locally, we showed obviously Washington, Oregon. I don't think we had any shows in Idaho at that point in time. And then our big shows for the year were located in California, Rancho Marietta, Bakersfield, Burbank, and then there's always the Christmas, Tucson, Arizona, kind of New Year's, kind of like our Florida circuit. And then we did the World Show, which was at that point in time, one big paint world. So the youth were at the first part, amateur and open was the second part. So you're there for a long time.
So can you talk a little bit about your sister Because she's how many years younger than you are?
She's 6 years younger than me.
Yeah. So somewhere in this mix, did she ride along with you a little bit? Did you guys ride together with your mom, or how'd that work?
So she showed 1 year of walk trot, one of my old horses, and that didn't last very long. And then she got a reiner, and so she showed pretty competitively as a non-pro reiner kid. And she went to Oklahoma City, showed there. She showed at some pretty big shows, and then kind of got out of it into her high school years. And then she came back and went to work for my mom and started doing more pleasure horses and all around horses again.
And then who'd you work for, and how'd you get to Texas?
So out of high school, my senior year of high school, I spent the summer, I showed a horse over the summer till about August, and then I went to work for Karen Qualls in Chino Hills, California. Worked for Qualsy for about a year, and then I met Robin Frid and Jenny Jordan, and so I went to work for them, and I worked for them for 6 years.
And that's a record? Is that how that works?
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
We love it when we hear these records on here, you know. I worked for him the longest.
So
tells you your moxie. That's awesome.
I need to mention, so tell me a little bit about working for Robin and Jenny, because they're, really good friends of mine and ours, you know.
They're not my friends at all.
Like,
I'm just kidding.
what?
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Ours. And then what parts of your horse toolbox did you learn from those guys?
I really learned I learned a ton from Robin and Jenny as far as anything from riding and training and preparing a horse for somebody else to ride, and how to speak to people. I learned skincare from Jenny. I learned all kinds of everything. I learned everything from them, and not to say I didn't learn other things from Karen, which I did. I learned a lot of organizational skills, and I learned a lot from my mom, but I definitely learned an unlimited amount of education from Robin and Jenny.
As you have a career, it just kind of molds with different information from different types of people, right? And if you're open-minded and ready to listen or be educated, you get to absorb all that, right? And put that into your toolbox. Okay, I'm going to stop you there for a second. Okay, Mr. Ryan, you ready? I'm so excited to ask you. Okay, so tell us where you're born. Tell me about your family. Okay.
Yeah, so Southwest Ohio. Born and raised in Southwest Ohio. Grew up there and spent all of my younger years until college years there.
You a Buckeye fan? Are you a Buckeye fan?
Buckeye strong.
Yes.
Yeah, Buckeye strong.
I saw Judd Paul come in here and go Bucks. He always does that when he comes in. So. All right, we got another Buckeye in the house. May have to go change hats halfway through the show. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So mom was a nurse in nursing field for 4 years until retired. Dad was a school teacher, industrial arts, so shop teacher, right? Mike and Rhonda Cottingim. And I grew up on a farm. Like, I was the traditional Midwestern farm kid.
So tell me, like, your first horses. Okay, so you showed livestock, you showed some hogs, you showed some cattle, and then learned to ride at the same time, right? Just basic riding.
Yeah. So growing up on a farm, we had all sorts of farm animals, right? So hogs, cattle.
Of that.
With horses and ponies and just, a good variety. So that's essentially kind of my start into horses. And so through 4-H, I showed those animals and showed as a kid and a youth kind of growing up. So that was kind of my introduction to, that show type atmosphere.
So I'm just going to stop one sec because your mom and dad are super great. Mm-hmm. I can't say enough good things about those two. I see them at the horse shows all the time. They're always so helpful to Vollmerville, and we always have issues. And your dad has helped me out so many times in so many binds and stuff like that. And your mom, she's such a nice lady, and she's such a great cook. And they're just fun people to be around. They're so courteous and so nice, and they raised you right. So I just want to say props to them. So tell me about, oh, well, I didn't ask you the other day is about your high school, like what kind of sports you played.
Yeah, so 3-sport athlete in high school. So football, basketball, and baseball. Quarterback on the football team, shortstop, second base, middle infield for baseball, and kind of point guard for the basketball. And I feel like that, growing up in that atmosphere, obviously very competitive, and also got kind of an introduction to coaching mentalities and different things like that, which I feel now as an adult in this profession has kind of helped me along the way.
How about just having to think quickly?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. My same thing. I played those same 3 sports, and I think that if I weren't training and showing horses, that's what I would want to do. I'd want to be a coach. I love coaching. I love trying to motivate people. That's awesome.
So let's step you into college, okay? Let's talk about you going to college, where you went, how that all worked out for you there.
Yeah, so wound up at the University of Findlay, and within their Western Equestrian program and equine business management. So my undergrad was that. Thoroughly enjoyed my time there in terms of really just enjoyed the educational process overall. So I feel like that really has set me with a good foundation for, again, kind of where I am professionally today. Just as far as, yes, the horse training atmosphere. I didn't have any other formal, really horse training background until I wound up at the university. And from then, I feel like I got the business aspect, the introduction into the business aspect, as well as the training aspect, and I feel like that was a great fundamental beginning to my professional career.
Can you talk about some of the gentlemen that were the instructors there at the time?
You bet. So great staff throughout. I had Clark Bradley, obviously kind of a standard there at the University of Findlay. Through my time there, Steve Brown was there, Dan Huss, now just outside in the Cave Creek area, actually, primarily in reiners. At that time, he still did some all-around horses, and Cindy Moorhead was there. Just a great group of professionals for a young person to grow up around. I feel like they were mentors from the beginning, along with great horsemen and horsewomen. And I think that, again, that helped mold kind of who I am and where I am today.
Awesome.
So there was one gentleman who showed up one year there at Findlay College, right, and did a big clinic there, right?
Yeah, so actually that was my first introduction to Tim the Trailman. During my time there, you did come in and do a clinic, a couple-day clinic, and of course here we are years later, and still thriving in what we do and enjoying it and stuff like that. So that was kind of my first introduction, and how time has gone by. We love it, right?
Yeah.
Love it.
Right. So, okay. So after you graduated out of Findlay College, can you tell us what you did at Findlay after that?
Yeah. So I spent 1 year as an intern and an additional year as a hired-on instructor within the university in the Western Equestrian program. So 2 additional years after my undergrad, I started my MBA at that point in time. I really love the educational atmosphere. So the instructing part really I felt well suited for, but obviously had bigger dreams and aspirations as far as horse training. So following that second year there as an instructor, I decided to continue on, go out on my own, and try to develop a show horse business.
So when you're at college, though, you're allowed to take some stalls, right, and train some people and teach, right? And how'd your hours work when you were doing that?
Yeah, so I was instructing about 8 hours a day, and at the time I had 10 or 12 training horses. We could rent stalls there at the university, very convenient and handy, and
Nice.
And also obviously spending a couple hours schoolwork through the MBA program. So So by the time the day shook out at that point in time, obviously a pretty full day, and I felt like, it was hard to really apply yourself, but it kind of also set me up for the lifestyle we live today in terms of it. There's a lot we have to manage, and I think that's to be expected. So, it was a lot at that time, but I also feel like it's helped us kind of organize the current program we have, which is a lot.
So those early years when after you get out of school or after you come out of Findlay and you have your own barn, like the horse shows in your area, like I'm not sure because I'm not in that area. Like what shows would you guys go show at?
Yeah, so wound up back in Southwest Ohio and renting a facility there. So the local group of horse shows was going to be like Wilmington, Ohio, and that was long before what we know is the current Wilmington built today. But Wilmington, Ohio, we had Newcastle, Indiana, Gordyville. We spent a lot of time at Gordyville, and kind of horse showing locally. Our big show for the year would have been the Congress. And so within that area is kind of that region is kind of where we stayed. And I just had a great, kind of introductory group of all around customers. And it was great beginnings for us.
And then from there, how did it work out for you?
So within that time period, I was introduced to Tommy Sheets. I think is where we're going with that, right?
Yeah.
So introduced to Tommy Sheets. He approached me about a permanent position within his program, Team Red, we'll refer to, right?
Yeah.
And I would not change that for the world. And I relocated there for 8 years. Mind you, I do hold the record. I want to set that straight, right? Like 8 years there.
Consecutive years.
Yeah. And again, wouldn't change that. I feel like my education continued at that point, which I feel like in this industry to be successful, we learn something every day, and that by far was a great asset to have in my career at that time.
You bet.
For both you spent a lot of years at Tommy's and Ryan's, both Tommy's and Robbins, and some of those other big trainers, that's what they said. You got to find a program to go to, someone that you respect, someone that's going to work for you, that you can learn from. And, I think that's kind of how you guys did it. And that's why it seems like it's working. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah. Oh, well, for sure. For sure. We've had many
people,
mentors that have come on. Cleve Wells is the one that comes to mind, Steve Heckerman.
Right.
The like, and that was one of the biggest things they said was go and work for somebody, because there's many people that ask, what advice would you give to the young trainer trying to get into the business, and don't do a 6 month, okay, I got it figured out and out of here. And so it's a true testament to these two here that they hold the record for the people that they worked with for working for them the longest, but they worked for two very organized, very ambitious, very good horse trainers. And so it's no surprise that they have a very successful training business under Ryan and Mandy here for sure.
And I'm just going to, one more thing is I talk about tree branches all the time when I talk about my stuff, right? Just like coaching trees, we talked about in basketball. I say coaching trees.
Lots of Spurs out there that are head coaches now. Just saying, had to throw that in there.
I love to teach my way of teaching. I love watching other people teach the way I've taught them. I've been fortunate to help a lot of people in the industry and stuff like that. And I'm very proud of that, right? Because I want them to go on. I want them to teach others.
Absolutely.
And this is like Tommy's deal, okay? Tommy teaches Ryan. Ryan teaches another one. Mandy teaches another one from Robin. That's how we connect all the dots, right?
Yep.
It's fun to see if you see it from my position from afar back, because I'm not in the training thing. I just coach, I clinic. But to watch all you guys do it and see how we're all connected. I used to ride for her. I learned from them. Everybody who comes on the show, you're surprised. Oh, I didn't know that she rode for him. I didn't know you rode for him.
Yeah.
And you can pick up so much from everybody.
Yep.
So here it goes, guys.
Let's do this. Let's see this next part. Come on.
How'd you guys meet? How's the story going? Mandy, you tell me your side of the story.
Let's boost,
how you
let's
guys
boost
met
our
when-
ratings. Let's boost our ratings right now. Come on. Give us some juicy stuff.
So I went to dinner with Tim at Chili's while we were at the World Show.
Matchmaker.
And Tim convinced me that we needed to go to a bar. So we did, and magically Ryan showed up there.
Magically.
And you just
Hey, you showing up right now too?
what's he
How
doing
about
over
that?
there?
What are you doing?
Making sure we got the story right or something,
His
right?
phone's charged now.
Isn't it funny, to see Ryan at a bar, right? That'd be so weird. But okay.
So weird. I'm not really sure how that happened, but just a little Tim magic in there.
I got the picture though.
Yeah, I know you got
Weaving that web, Tim. You're weaving that web.
I know. Just help
Good
my
job.
friends out. So, Ryan, what are you doing? Are you doing your chart?
I think he's putting his charger on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ryan, let's hear your side of the story of how you guys met and how you happened to be at Cowboys that night.
Yeah. So Tim called me
Oh,
and kind of says, "Hey, I've got a young. We're meeting. No, there's a group. Actually, don't even say anything about the
group. Yeah, there was a group.
There's a group meeting at Cowboys. Why don't you join us?" So I had nothing on at the time other than to sleep and get ready for the next show day. But besides that, I took the opportunity to join you, and I think, here we are a few years later, and it's worked out well, right?
So
Yeah, I keep trying to pull your camera down there.
let's get Ryan's camera set. Okay.
There we
It's a
go.
long night. There you go. So here's my question on the side. I shouldn't go into the camera. What'd Fred think?
Did you have Fred's blessing here,
Yeah,
Andy?
that's what I'm
Did you
thinking.
get his blessing?
There's a big wall here that, like, we're all on edge because you're kind of dating Robin's
Yeah.
help. So
Yeah.
what do you guys
Yeah.
think?
So Fred, the underlier, there's twofold of Fred, and that's actually Jenny, right? So
Right.
it's Jenny and Robin, right?
Right.
So like that's that's a strong undertaking. So it had to be handled very
Delicately.
carefully, I would say.
I agree.
Very carefully.
Were you as good of you're better friends now than you were then, no doubt, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Once he accepted, okay, this is the real deal. It's gonna happen. All's good. Then it's like, okay, now you're gonna be my buddy.
Yeah.
Well, he was referred to as the problem for a long time.
His
And
name was
that
not
means what?
Ryan. It was the problem.
And what's that
The
mean?
problem.
And what's that mean, Amanda?
Well, it meant that when I moved away and Robin had to find new help, that made Ryan the problem.
God, that Ryan guy. Come on, man.
Did you help find a replacement, Ryan?
So
Yeah, I tried, but he couldn't get over it.
how
He
about
just-
so how did that work? Like dating far apart a little bit for a while there before you got real serious and stuff like that. How'd you guys manage that?
We met like once a month.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say that could be at a horse show that both Tommy and Robin were going to, or we would take a week of that month and fly to each other's. I'm pretty sure we spent a weekend at Wilmerville when nobody was there, which was kind of cool.
House sitting. You're a house sitting, right?
We were house sitting,
Convenient.
and we did Dallas stuff
Yeah.
one time. So
Right. I remember that. Wow. Okay. So what happens when you guys kind of get together for serious? Then do you take a step to Tommy's for a second and work there for a little bit?
yeah, I moved up to Tommy's. We worked there for a little bit, and then kind of found that there was maybe a hole in Nashville, and started looking for a place for us to start our own business.
Awesome.
Yes. So when you guys go out on your own, being kind of not young but kind of young, what's your thoughts and concerns? Or I'm even gonna go with how you pick the area.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, so the Middle Tennessee area at the time, I felt was kind of a good landing spot. And ironically, I did a project in college. So I had a lot of data towards that area, just horse training in general, professionally, and kind of what that meant. So I took that, and Mandy and I visited about the opportunity, and we spent some time down here and researched the area, and actually seemed like it could kind of work, and we kind of followed through with that, and I think a lot of help along the way, a little luck along the way, and here we are.
Do you see your friend Nick's on?
Oh, is Nick on? Tell Nick I said hello. I guess I could tell Nick.
Yeah, you can tell him.
He's supposed to be working at Raleigh right now. Like he's supposed to be horse show. Like, or something, right?
Hello, everybody in Raleigh. Enjoy your horse show.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
Yeah.
What do you guys like? What's a plan? How do you guys plan to start your business? I know you picked Nashville, okay? How do you pick like what your horses are going to be? Who's coming? How are you going to get clientele? Like how'd you get started? Did you give lessons in the area? Did you promote yourself?
And I want to add to that. How scary was it to actually say,
Yeah.
let's do this. We've researched. We've gone out, but now you're actually going to pull the trigger.
We'll ask Mandy first.
How scary? Yeah, let's get both of your both of your
Ask
perspectives
Tom
on it.
first.
Both your perspectives. Mandy, go ahead.
Mandy has more of a go with the flow. Everything happens for a reason. Everything works out. So Mandy was fully prepared and ready to go.
Right.
You knew you
Okay,
knew it was
now-
you knew it was going to be a success. I mean,
Maybe not,
the way things happen, like you said, everything happened for a reason. The way everything kind of fell into place, you knew that it was going to go. You didn't know when, but you knew it was going to go at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay.
Your take,
Mr.
Ryan.
Cottingham. What did you think?
Yes.
Did you have fingernails?
So I'm a much more organized planner, and definitely not a pessimist, but I'm a realist, right?
Right.
And I understood the struggles.
Spoken like a true pessimist.
Yeah, well, the reality is, sometimes you have to have some trials and tribulations to move forward in life and to learn
You
and
have
to
to.
progress.
That's right.
Professionally, anything else. So I knew that could. That's what we could be facing, and that's relative to any business, any relationship, anything, right? So, so I really took that aspect of it seriously and knew the reality of what that was. So, within that, granted, we have been extremely fortunate through this process and a ton of support along the way, and like we had talked about earlier, some of those mentors. I think that's especially important to kind of keep on your side and have kind of in your corner along the way. And I think that all of those contributing factors helped us kind of land and hit the ground running. And, Mandy and I are both pretty financially conservative in terms of trying to run the business. And, all of that is kind of, again, we've been fortunate to do.
So I have probably a trick question here, okay? So when you leave like a barn like Tommy's, right? I'm just going to be honest. How do you ensure that there's no hard feelings and the clients don't follow you and stuff like that? And there's a lot of dynamics that goes into such a big company as Tommy's Barn, and you're a big part of it at the time,
Right.
Both of you two. So how did the separation cleanly that everyone's understands and
I think a lot of that had to do with Tommy and I's relationship, and that had built over 8 years, and it was something we could talk about openly, we could visit about, and I know for Mandy and myself, it was important to hit the ground running, but develop our own program and cultivate our own customers and really feel fundamentally sound about what we want to provide as a program. And I think with that, it was a clean start on that aspect. But, when you've got, upstanding professionals like Tommy and like Robin within their programs, they know that they are developing a professional for the future. Like you said, the training tree, right? So
Right.
They're developing someone that they want to see go on and be successful in this field. And I feel like, that's, through certain times that can be difficult, but, ultimately in the back of their mind, like that's what they're trying to produce, for the future. So I commend that.
Right. So Bradford, I have one last question. So Mandy, tell me how Sam comes in or out of this scenario here from Washington.
I think she actually came and helped us at Congress one year. I think I needed some help at Congress, and it was maybe the first year we took a lot of horses. So she came, she spent Congress. She'd never been to a horse show like Congress before, of course, kind of an individual type show. And then I think she went home and came back and worked for us for maybe not quite a year. Then she went back to my mom's, worked for my mom's for another year or so, and then she came back and started working for us again full time.
I really like Sam, so she tries really hard. You don't give Sam any lip, man. She's but right there, right? She's black and white, so I love that. So, okay, Mr. Brad, play me some music.
Are we ready to go? All right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Rapid Fire. All right, so tonight's Rapid Fire, I have questions for Mandy. Tim has questions for Ryan. So here we go. We're going to start with Mandy. Mandy, question number 1. Name a color besides blue that you like to wear.
Purple?
Purple?
Purple,
Yeah.
love that.
Okay, awesome.
Good answer. Ryan, name your favorite type of peanut butter.
Whatever Mandy likes, because she's the peanut butter eater of the house. How about
Got
that?
it.
So creamy. Yeah.
Mandy, name a basic Frid-like rule you have at the horse shows.
Oh gosh. The heater is for my dog.
Good one. That's a good one.
Ryan, name something you might see at the horse show that makes you roll your eyes.
Oh gosh.
He's going through like 50 things right now.
Yeah, like this is my mind is overwhelming me right now. A dirty aisleway in an unclean aisleway, like an unorganized aisleway.
Got it.
Let's see that. Mandy, name something you like to do with your sister when Ryan's not around.
Ooh, we like to go out and eat. We like to go out and eat.
Okay. Ryan, name a tool you use a lot that you really love to have.
A tool
favorite tool? What's your favorite tool that you have that you love?
I would have to say all my battery operated like impacts, drills, they go with me. I've got battery operated like set, right? So they go with me in the horse shows, they stay with me at home. They're always by my side.
Yeah, I've borrowed them a time or two. Whenever Ryan's stalled next to me, I'm like, can I borrow something there?
Yes.
Excellent. Mandy, name something in your new house that you remodeled that you're most proud of or you like to look at.
Ooh, I don't know that I remodeled it, but I really like the dining area that I first painted Kermit the Frog green, and then we had to get the real color it was supposed to be. And then I bought a really cool painting that kind of goes over the wall, which I love the painting of the horse that Ryan says looks like Bosco, but it doesn't have a white blaze. But that's okay.
Okay. Ryan, name the type of music you like to play at the barn or at the horse shows.
Give me a time of day or what morning?
Morning,
Time of day.
morning choice. Morning
But
choice.
like trail morning, showmanship morning,
Trail morning.
trail morning. It's going to be because I'm very versed in my music selection, so it's very. I feel like it sets the mood, right? Sets the mood. So trail morning, I'm going to be more of an upbeat, but not too overwhelming. So I'm gonna go classic rock. Classic rock.
Okay, classic rock. Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Easier question for you, Mandy. What horse show has your favorite restaurant to eat at, and name that restaurant?
The first place that comes to mind is the World Show, and there's this little castle place that's kind of behind the Mexican restaurant. Like, you'd have to ask Ryan what it's called.
Wow, I've never been there, I don't think. Awesome.
Good answer. Okay, Ryan, ready? Who has or makes the best moonshine you've ever tasted?
Okay, so now we're in moonshine country, right? And
Yes.
I hate to say that I'm a connoisseur, right? So my farrier's good friend makes a good moonshine, and we actually put oak chips to it, so it winds up being kind of a whiskey shine. Yeah,
Wow.
pretty good. Yep,
Nice.
smooth.
Mandy, this is a good one. What's the quirkiest habit or thing that Ryan does?
Oh gosh.
He's in another room, so you're safe. Go lock the door.
Yeah.
Probably won't eat or drink after anybody, including me. No, you can't. You can have the water bottle, but I won't drink after you. And so I honestly kind of ignore him, and hope that it goes away.
Let us keep us posted on that one.
Hey, I was pre-programmed for COVID. I just want to say that.
There you go. Yes, you were. Yes.
You were. Okay, Ryan, what's a favorite thing that Mandy cooks for you?
About that. She doesn't cook, but if she did, it would be peanut butter and jelly.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
All right. We'll accept that. I love my peanut butter and jelly for sure. Mandy, what is your favorite type of wine to drink?
Moscato, all the way.
Moscato. No question.
Did you learn that from the girls? Oh my gosh. Okay.
I like to
Ryan,
drink wine from the girls.
what do you like to do to relax or unwind?
I like to have a project. I'm a project guy. I'm work on trucks, work on tractors, stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay, Mandy,
I'm
don't
down
miss this
with
next
that.
question.
Totally. Yeah, Tim messed his up, and now he has a hurt foot. Name your favorite breed of dog.
My favorite breed of dog?
Yes.
My favorite dog is going to be the mixed breed that just shows up to the barn, because that's what mine are.
That's Mutt. Okay.
That's a real informal word.
Okay. Got it. Ryan, which is more challenging? Teaching students about horses in college or teaching clients at quarter horse shows?
I think it's all about the learning and teaching style, to be honest. I enjoy both because I enjoy the educational aspect of it.
What kind of political answer is that?
Yeah, he's he could go either way. Yeah, very politically correct, no doubt.
Last round.
Mandy, last question. What horse show friend do you text once a week?
Once a week?
You don't have one once a week?
I don't know that I have a once a weeker. My probably most common would be either Bulmer sisters or Jenny.
Okay, last question of the night. Ready, Ryan?
Yep.
Whose bit bucket usually has something new and interesting that catches your attention?
Oh gosh. I actually frequent Jimmy Roth is pretty good because he's got and granted that's what he does. That's his occupation, but he knows the good stuff. right? So I do have to, I check in with him quite frequently.
Awesome.
Yep.
Great job tonight, guys.
Great job. Great job. Great job. Okay, this is where we take our first break, everybody. Stay tuned while we thank our sponsors, and we'll be right back with more Ryan Cottingham and Mandy Gately, the Blue Crew. Stay tuned. Fill your glass back up. We'll be right back.
Every once in a while, something comes along that could be a game changer. Enter Unishippers, a trusted shipping source for more than 30 years. If you need a reliable, fast shipping source, turn to a specialist that knows the unique shipping needs of the equine reproductive marketplace. As an authorized UPS reseller, Unishippers offers unbeatable shipping value. Let Unishippers deliver for you. Call Mark and his team today.
I could use one of those about right now. I'm just saying. Tim, we're all really happy to hear that your foot's doing better. But I'm going to, on behalf of Tina, ice that sucker. Keep using your boot. Don't try to do too much too quick.
Maya has some ice ready for me, so it's all
Yeah.
good, man.
Yeah, thank you, Maya. Thank you, Maya. All right, everybody. So we would love to have some more questions. We've had some amazing, awesome comments. If there's any questions you guys have for the Blue Crew when we come back in, feel free to type them in. And time providing, we will definitely get to them. All right, let's bring them back in. Let's keep rolling.
Okay, so my favorite question always is, okay, Mandy, you can start us. What was your turning point in your career with showing horses or training horses? Where did you think, I don't know, there's always a turning point or more than one turning point, but do you have one that you can talk about?
I don't know that there was like a specific turning point for me. I mean, I've always thought I was going to train. I guess there was a little bit of lostness if I really wanted to do it or not while I worked for Frid, but I would say definitely when I met Ryan, I became a little bit more motivated and was like, I either need to do this or don't do it. So,
what do you like to do nowadays? You have an event or a coach or
what's your favorite event?
What part of it?
Probably my favorite event for myself to show in would be the undersaddle of the Western Riding.
Yeah.
I feel like those events come pretty naturally to me, even though I might not always I don't have a barn full of undersaddle horses, but it's one of my favorite classes to show in, and the Western Riding, of course, that it takes a special horse to do that class, so we don't have a barn full of those either. But when we do get the opportunity to show those horses in those events, I enjoy those events.
Okay, great. Okay, Ryan. So I passed something up long hours ago, not hours, minutes ago. I really want to ask you about your mule riding. Okay, because I used to have a friend that showed mules, and I came next to Bishop, California. Right, we're in like prime time mule country, and we talk about mules sometimes. Tell me how the mule situation came up, because I saw a picture of you in the beginning.
A paint mule, I think, too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, of course, kind of started on the farm and pretty biologically basic. We had a pony and we had a donkey, and the pony was a mare and the donkey was a jack. And come to find out, their baby is a mule, right? So that was my first introduction there. So we had a team of pony mules that we drove. From there, I was riding, and we had other ponies and small horses and different things. And we kind of developed this little thing for the mules. Mom and Dad trail rode a lot, and we kind of had our mules that we trail rode. So growing up, a lot of times, like you use what you have, right? So that kind of growing up was that introduction to that. So through some of my 4-H years, that was kind of what we had. So whether it was a horse or a pony or a mule, right? That's where we went. So within the industry, right? All of our professional friends, Patty Vatterott as well. She knows a little my history there. Jess Berganzel, because he grew up a little similar to me as well, right? But yeah, that might be a little surprise to some of our crowd tonight.
Well, when I was younger too, we had like a couple Rainer mules, a couple trail mules that we had to ride and train, and they taught me a lot. I mean, it's a different little mindset. Their little minds are a little different than horses, but educational, man. It was fun. They were fun to ride. I really enjoyed it.
For sure. And I feel I feel like every young professional, if they really think that they want to be a horse trainer, I think they should go start to finish on a mule and see how that works out for them, right? You can learn a lot.
So Ryan, you've had a long career here, and there might be more than one turning point we're talking about for you, okay? And maybe either talk about multiple turning points or how you see your career to 2020, like where were the turning points?
Yeah, definitely stair-stepped a little along the way. And I feel like all for the better and all for the progress. But as far as my educational part of being a professional, obviously that started at the University of Findlay. Secondly, I'd have to say my transition into Tommy's program. He brought a very practical aspect to my education-based part and a very street smart practicality to horse training and running a professional business. So I feel like that was kind of the next step. While I was there, I was exposed to a lot of great horses along the way. And, with that, MWS says they're hot. Obviously she was the first that, I was able to win the Congress, able to win the World Show. But through there I had certainly first and a certain potential gelding.
Ask your question.
Yeah.
So when you showed didn't you win the senior trail at the Congress?
I did.
And
2011. Yep.
And how many was in it?
Quite a few.
Over 100, right?
You're right. Yep.
And then when did you go in the work order?
I was first, draw one. Actually, I think I was second, number one scratch, but draw one essentially. And so it can be done, and I think that's Absolutely. One thing that I've held when you've got a good set of judges and, in terms of scoring the trail, understanding the trail, ultimately I've held on to that from that day on. It doesn't matter what draw you are. If you're, if you're able to lay out a great pattern and be mounted well and all those things kind of come together for you at the right time, it's possible on draw one to get it done.
Did you win the World Show too?
I did.
When did you go in the work order in the senior?
I was very early as well. Maybe draw 3, right, in the finals, I think. But
2 or 3, right?
Yeah, I think draw 3. Yep.
I mean, it's a couple big classes, tough classes to go early, but you got to be a little lucky too. You have a lot of skill, but you have to have a little luck on your side too. But it's doable, right? I mean, just what you were just saying, right?
Yeah, no, and I think that's what it comes down to. I think, and our judges now they're extremely educated on the event. A lot of them show it, different things, and I feel that it is possible. I think that, going in there as a showman and knowing that can be done and that's on your side is important. Having that confidence from draw one, from draw three to, go down. I'm big on, whether it's myself showing or customers, I'm trying to eliminate mistakes and show the best pattern I can show and actually make the judges do their job. Let them do their job and the chips will fall where they will, right? Like, let them do their job, but don't be yourself is the important part of that, right? Like, let them do their job. Don't beat yourself and, go from there.
Okay. So great answer, both you two. So my next question goes, what part do you enjoy best in the business? Because you guys have to do so many different things. For instance, coaching students, training horses, showing horses. Is there an aspect of what we do or what you guys do that you enjoy more, or do you like? What's intriguing to you for that? Mandy, you want to go first?
Sure. For me, it's all three. The training the horses, the showing the horses, that is the challenging part. That's the competitive part that keeps me, kind of pushing forward. But I also really enjoy coaching the customers and, wanting to be able to have that customer have the same amount of success that I would hope that I would have in the show pen.
Ryan?
Yeah, so I think on a fundamental level, I love walking into the barn in the morning, being the first one in the barn, and just being with the horses, right? And that's a very fundamental level. So I think the horse aspect for me is a fortunate piece of getting to do something I love on a daily basis, and that's the horse aspect, right? But I have gotten to a point in my career that I can truly say I'm as motivated and excited and as happy to have that customer do well and succeed as I am myself. And I think that there is a turning point in a professional's life when that happens. And I think it's very important. So I can also say that the success, and I'm not talking about show pen wins or anything like that necessarily in terms of success, but I think that there's a very strong aspect of whatever those goals are for that customer or those small successes and little steps along the way. I'm as happy of those successes as I am for myself in the show pen.
So great answers again.
Yeah.
You guys are nailing it tonight. So
they must have read the books.
They studied for the test tonight. So the next question goes to how to find the right horse for the right rider, coming youth or selects or amateurs. Mandy, I'm just going to go to you for a second here. Not so much just your clientele at the moment. I'm saying anybody that's looking for a horse. What's the things that you look for? Now, you happen to have two of the Vollmer sisters' horses over there, and it seems like they're a great fit for your two young girls over there, right? I mean, it seems like both Bosco and Potter, they different type of horses, but they really match the girls that you've matched them up with,
Right.
That's what's so fun about watching that combination over there. But besides them and them two, what goes into matching people up like that?
First, I feel like you have to really figure out what you want to be successful in. I mean, even the people that want to show the all around, maybe they show in the hunter under saddle as well, but is that their main class they want to do well in, or is the pattern stuff, or is it trail, is it Western riding? I feel like, especially for my program or our program, we really try to get like a person to pick whether it's trail, Western riding, or eck horsemanship, showmanship. Maybe that horse still shows in the trail, but isn't the best in the trail. So you got to kind of narrow down what that person's strengths are in which classes. And then I go to personalities. When the youngest started leasing Potter, for example, I needed something that was trustworthy in the pen and would not, scare her, or that, but it was still big enough stride to show in the undersaddle and the equitation, but not 17 hands. So, I really I have to fit those personalities with each person, or do they have enough leg strength to make that horse go around, or do they need a horse that can carry them and help them a little bit more? It's matching up strength and weaknesses for sure, and personalities.
Quite the process overall. I mean, all you trainers have to do that constantly, trying to search for horses. Ryan, I'm going to let you get into this. And, sometimes do you buy younger horses? Do you have older horses? Mix and matching. You guys have quite the job. I mean, everyone asks me if I see horses in the field, and I do, but, just mixing, matching, getting the right combination so everyone's happy. Ryan, I'm going to let you jump into that question. Take it away.
Yeah, no, I do think that there's a true art to kind of matching that horse and rider, right? So within that, and I totally agree with Mandy, and a lot of it then kind of to build from that, I would say that the next kind of part of that is, what are the goals of that customer, and where do they see themselves going, and what track do they see themselves going down, and at what level horse shows are we showing? And the other part of that is, can we buy them a young horse and build that horse? Are they a customer that can go through that process in terms of it's not overnight success, right? There's going to be a little learning curve. There's going to be a little transition involved in building that young horse, and as we as professionals start showing it, and then as non-pros start showing it. And I think that's a process. Or do we need to buy one that's a little self-made because that customer wants to go out and show in multiple events tomorrow? And I think a lot of that is just communication between yourself and customers, and having a good understanding of, again, what their goals are and maybe what their timeline is. And trying to make the best match you can make. And I think that's a very important part of the profession we're in right now.
Yeah, mute myself. Okay, very good. So I'm gonna keep going because, again, good answer, both of you two.
Well, can I add to that, because I think that you guys you don't share. I mean, I know you help all your clients, but there's certain clients that you help. Is that correct, Ryan? And then there's certain clients that you help, Mandy. And how do you choose who goes where? Like who helps one and who helps the other? Do you have a system, or do you just kind of see how your personalities match, or the horse matches you, or whatever? What's kind of your criteria?
A lot of it really depends. There's a couple of factors that go into that, as far as one is which one of us rides the horse. I think it's easier when you understand the horse to coach a person how to ride that horse. That doesn't mean that we definitely don't have horses that maybe Ryan rides and I coach the person. But for the most part, I would say I definitely make Ryan step in on those lessons of those horses that he rides, because he rides them. He can tell you what that horse is doing that maybe I can't see what it's doing. The second thing is probably based on class or event. I would say I coach more of the horsemanship, the equitation, the under saddle. Ryan coaches more of the trail, the showmanship. And then we kind of both help with the Western riding, just depending on a horse and customer.
So, okay, I'm going to keep going here. So when you got, let's say Big A's our next show in a couple of weeks, tell me how you prepare your clientele and stuff. Like, do you practice patterns? Do you do drills? What's the secret? What do you guys like to do first, or the next week or two? Ryan?
Yeah, so as far as the trail, we're trying to isolate maybe event by event a little bit, right? So trail, I'm a big calisthenic guy. I'm more a footwork, correctness of footfalls kind of person through the trail. So I feel whether it's me riding, my open horses, or coaching through our non-pros, our youth and amateur select riders. I'm very fundamentally and mechanically based. So a ton of drill work, a ton of reps, I feel goes into us. We will set up a little pattern work, but I feel like if we're fundamentally strong at home, we can apply that directly to then what we see the entire course at the horse show in those type of situations. So, our showmanship, I will do a little more in full pattern set work the closer we get to horse shows. But again, I think it's all in reference of the fundamental and mechanics that go into that particular event.
So I know Mandy's going to answer the question too, but Ryan, I have one more question for you at this second, right? Okay. Where'd you get your showmanship skills?
So showmanship skills started at Findlay, right? And I think drastically developed then at Tommy's, I would say. And granted, showing up in 4-H, right? I think we got to go back to 4-H a little bit. Showmanship was a strong suit there. But at Tommy's, he had a very strong showmanship structure. And I feel that, at that point, I realized, like, if you're, first of all, as an exhibitor, if you're going to do showmanship, you have to have a passion for it. You have to have an interest in it. And I feel like kind of same applies to the coach, right? So the coach has to have a passion for it, has to have an interest for it. And, I feel like we try to apply that directly to our customers and our horses.
Okay. So Amanda, the question I have too with this question is like equitation. Like I see the sisters practicing equitation a lot, and that's just it's very physical. So I was curious how you guys practice your equitation part. Any other classes getting ready for the Big A?
So for me, I feel like I'm not a big person who works on the patterns that we compete at the horse show with, but I definitely like to go through pattern works this time of the year, starting to go into those larger shows, Youth World, NSBA World, Select World. We start making sure that if there's a bobble, how do you ride through that? How do you keep going? How do you not let yourself quit showing? Can you pull yourself back together if something kind of starts to fall apart? And we work on things that we know we're weak in, whether that be a lead change, whether that be transitions in the pattern. So I create little patterns that have those hard spots in there, and we work on that. For the equitation, we just make sure we practice equitation. I mean, I do have leg exercises, exercises that we keep working on throughout the year to make sure that we stay strong. But the biggest thing is making sure that you can find each rider's strength, weaknesses, and how you're going to build that muscle. Just like if you were working out, you have to have the correct muscles and the correct support through your body in order to hold those correct positions. Good. And it's just repetition.
It's good. You're muted.
I had it. And then Gino, he's texting me while we're doing the show. Like, I'm trying to do both things. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I think we're going to go one more topic, and then I might take a commercial for a second. I'd love to know about your EWDs. Okay. How you got involved with the program. Tell me about the groups you help. Tell me how you help them, because I got to help them too. So I'm excited to ask you that. Ryan, you want to start?
So the customers you kind of mentioned, Diane has a program just outside of Chicago, and that was kind of our introduction into kind of helping the EWDs. And I feel like first of all, a great, outstanding program and great, outstanding people to be involved with, and I feel like we have really learned a lot through the process. And again, great program. HHA, offers quite a bit. NSBA offers quite a bit, and in terms of those EWD classes, and I think it's a program that we all should continue looking into and continuing to develop.
And Mandy, talk a little bit about just schooling those guys, because they're so fun they're happy. I mean, just interesting, right?
Yeah.
How to talk to them and stuff like that. What's your experience with that?
Well, like Brian said, we started getting involved because Diane runs a program called Partners for Progress. The showing part of their program is such a small part. They actually have that program based on helping kids or adults with disabilities, right? And whether that's mobile function or mental stabilities. But coaching the show team has been not just an eye opener, but it really makes you step back and teach the basics, shorten your words so that they, like when Evan misses a diagonal, you say fix it. You don't say change your diagonal. That's too much for them to process. And each one of them, just like us, learns differently. Some people are visual persons. They can read the map, they can go out and they can do it, or they have to do it 3 or 4 times and feel it until it's right. It's just like working with the people that we work with every single day, but obviously you simplify.
Yeah. And then Ryan, how about the props to the people who get their horses ready for those guys? I thought that's very interesting too.
No, yeah, and as our exposure has been to Partners for Progress kind of specifically, but there's obviously you've been involved. You kind of mentioned that a little bit, and I think that that involvement helps kind of progress those courses a little bit, right? So that's happening, but behind the scenes, though, first of all, the horses themselves, I think, extremely commendable. A lot of them have led great show careers prior, and maybe they're just time to slow down a little bit, maybe semi-retirement, but not time for full retirement. So those horses, I hold a great deal of respect for.
You bet.
First of all, but there's a lot that goes into that behind the scenes in preparing those horses. Just like we prepare a horse. They have to, we get them ready and they lunch them and their road. And I think that, I do have a great deal of respect for those horses. And again, I think that as professionals in this industry, that's kind of where we all started anyway, centered around the horse. So,
they're just so appreciative of any help that you give them. Okay. And then they have this little competitive twitch in them that's so funny to watch, right? It's like they're really into it more than we think. And when you can communicate with those guys and get them to do it, it's so fun. I mean, it's I don't know, it's something different than I've had to teach for a long time, but I'm always going up to bat for those guys. I would teach those guys any day of the week. It doesn't matter who it is, because it's fun. I mean, I enjoy that. That's our teaching background. Yeah. When we go back to our roots, okay, like where we learned it, if it's back to going to give lessons for $20, right? I mean, it's not that they're worth $20. It's just that's the style of teaching, something slow. Use your words right, Mandy. Like you're saying, you got to pick and choose the right words, because I miss that. They can't just use Trailman 101 jargon, because some of that doesn't compute, right? And so I don't know. I got so much out of that. That's all I can say. Bradford.
Yep.
Can I do a commercial?
You can. Absolutely. So everybody stay tuned. We have a word from our newest sponsor, Kent Ray Taylor. And then we're going to find out how the Crisis Fund was, how it impacted Ryan Cottingham's life here shortly. Brister, I see you asked that question. So everybody stay tuned. Real quick, we'll be back. This is an awesome commercial that Kent Ray put together here. So everybody watch this, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
It's a story. We still have pages left to write. It's a journey, and it's a beautiful ride. Be fearless, be brave, and be the light. Listen to your heart and let it guide you through the night. Let go into the great
champion in the 2019 Pleasure Versatility Challenge. Your horse, your world, your way. Brought to you by Terry Bradshaw and Quarter Horses. Receiving the champion ribbon, a custom-made champion buckle donated by Holly Spagnola Design, and a check for $10,000 to congratulate number 1988. Snap and send it. Come by Blake Wise, Fight a Point, Texas. All by Kent Ray Taylor, Mesa Arizona. Our champion Snap and Send it.
There are mountains, there are highs and there are lows, and there are secrets waiting to unfold. So be fearless, don't be afraid to walk alone. You are stronger, stronger than you know. Let go into the great unknown. Live your life, it doesn't really matter if we have all the answers. It's all about the road we're on. So let's go into the great unknown. Into the great unknown. The stars will burn, the sun will rise. You never know.
We are back. That's a pretty cool commercial, isn't it, guys?
Great song.
Yeah.
Great song,
Great
Jada.
song from Jada. Absolutely.
Great song.
All right, let's roll to it, Timmy. Let's find out
Okay,
about how they're integrated into the crisis fund from taking and
You
giving.
want to pop the question up there, and then we can go off the question, and then
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
add my part of the question. Bristers. Tell us about. You want to read it, Brad?
Sure. It says, tell us about the NSBA Crisis Fund fundraiser Ryan and Mandy do each year. Mandy, can you kind of speak into that a little bit? Is that right? Mandy was
Sure.
gonna do that, right?
2 years ago, we decided that we want to have our first Blue Crew Christmas party, which was super great. And it was the same year that Ryan got hurt in the accident and we were benefited by the Professional Horseman Crisis Fund. So I decided that I wanted to try to host a fundraiser that would raise money to give back to the Professional Horseman Crisis Fund for their donation to us, so that somebody else would have that money to use when they had a crisis. So the first year we did Professional Horseman Crisis Fund, we raised just a little under 5,000. And then last year we did one for the NSBA Crisis Fund, and we raised, I think, a little over 7,000.
Wow, unbelievable.
It's awesome.
job,
All of
guys.
our customers help donate items, purchase items. People, it's a really super fun time at our Christmas. It adds a little special meaning to our Christmas party.
Awesome.
Yeah, great. So, Ryan, let's start. My bad. Let's talk about the Crisis Fund. You know, all of them, I guess, and then your involvement with that. Okay, and maybe your involvement with Professional Horsemen.
Yeah. So, to start with, as Mandy kind of mentioned, I had a horse riding accident a couple years ago and was hospitalized for a few days, and fortunately, no, permanent damage and different things. But at that point in time, AQHA, Professional Horseman Crisis Fund, NSBA, Professional Horseman Crisis Fund, reached out and for that specific purpose of a horse trainer in need. And we didn't know what those needs might be at that point in time, but certainly glad that we were involved with two associations that had set up funds specifically for that. And so through that process, as Mandy kind of mentioned, we felt very important. It came at an important time in our lives, and as far as having some of those finances available, and it was important for us at some point then to give back into those funds, and we found a way to be able to fundraise and kind of generate some of that to provide back into those funds that are so meaningful through for a lot of professionals' lives. we never know, from day to day what type of crisis we might find ourselves in. And they're great programs, and all the support we can have along the way. I'm involved in both of them, and probably interesting enough, I've been involved in the fundraising aspect. I have been a recipient, but a strong supporter of both of those funds, because I know how meaningful and what an impact they have to professionals in this industry.
So my question is, what did you learn when you were, I'll say down and out a little bit, like when you were injured? What did you learn in that time period while you were not being able to get on a horse and having to talk through it all the time and doing things from a golf cart or a wheelchair or whatever, crutches? What did you learn about that part?
Yeah, so I definitely feel that, as a young professional in the industry, horse trainer, right? Like, you're a little indestructive. You're kind of just going through life and riding the wave. And I feel that through that time period, it definitely put a very good perspective to across the board, as far as what are the important things in life, what are the important things in business, and I really feel like that self-reflect there was super important as far as self-growth and business growth, professional growth, personal growth, just within that reflection during that time period.
So, Amanda, the first question you don't need to answer, but I was curious, what was he like when he was like that? Like, it seems kind of, but
honestly,
yeah.
I have to give major props to his mom and his dad, who came down, and his mom basically nursed him for the entire time, because there was so much stuff that I had no idea about that required a real nurse. And I mean, she literally helped him through the whole process. And Ryan's dad and I went to the barn. My mom was there to help at the barn. My sister was there to help at the barn. And we just kept the barn functioning, and his mom took care of him. But I mean, he was broken enough that we couldn't even sleep in the same bed, because if I moved, it would move him. So I slept on the couch, and I got to maybe eat dinner in the bedroom with him. And that was about all we really got to hang out at that point in time.
So, and you just never know, right? I mean, all you boys and girls that step on horses, you got to be always careful. Like you said, you think you're indestructible, but you never know. You just never know.
No. Yeah, no. And I, just for those that may be viewing, but not know specifically, I'm not going to go into details, but it was an equine accident, and I want to emphasize the accident, right? It was not, one was being naughty. It wasn't anything in those terms. And I think for me, that was the reality, and that was the perspective that probably hit home the most, that what we do on a daily basis does have some inherent risk to it, right? And I think that within that, we accept it. It's just sometimes when you're young and kind of on fire about just riding horses and being a horse trainer, you may not have that perspective or know the reality of it. And through that, like I said, I think we've learned a lot, but accidents do happen. And again, to bring that kind of full circle, that's where programs like the NSBA Crisis Fund and AQHA Professional Horsemen's Crisis Fund are so meaningful. So when we're at events, maybe like the world shows or different things where they're maybe making donations or collections of that, that's why those events are so important to kind of raise and utilize some of those funds where they're needed.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to jump again. So what do I'm going to talk about our future a little bit of the industry. What do you guys see in some of the younger horse trainers in the field right now? Like up and coming, what do you think their mindset is? And maybe perhaps you can talk a little advice a little bit to some of the younger ones, either coupley or singles.
You're reaching a milestone age-wise, right, Ryan?
Yes. Don't lie.
We're approaching.
So I asked that because who do you see the future of our industry in good hands for the when you kind of started rolling, right, in your late 20s,
Yeah.
right? Do you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
those? Do you see those type of people out there with the thirst and the hunger, the desire to be better horsemen? You know, what is y'all's take on it? And then any advice that you could give, you know, for maybe young couples that are going on their own, or individually, either way.
So first of all, I think over the last 3 months, I think has been a great learning curve for our industry. And what I mean by that, you know, going into this profession, you always hope that it's sustaining. Any profession, you hope that's sustaining, right? And I feel very confident coming out of these 3 months when, you know, folks weren't able to horse show and some things that we found that maybe we took for granted we weren't able to do. And now that there are horse shows happening and things are moving forward within our industry, I feel that it's been very proactively accepted. And, you know, right now horse shows are being sold out across the country if they're able to function, right?
Right.
And I feel like that's very encouraging as a professional in this industry. When we've seen times up and down that, you know, wow, can we sustain this through a professional career over the terms of 25, 30 years, 30 plus years through a professional career. So I do feel like it's very meaningful to me knowing that we still have a group of customers and a group of people that are really encouraged to go horse show and be a part of what we love every day. So first of all, I think that's I think we just need to take note of it and know how important that is. So as a young professional in this industry, I take that very seriously, and I would encourage those as a young professional to take that very seriously. And it's not easy. It's not easy branching out on your own. I feel like a support team is extremely important. And we all need that. And like we kind of mentioned through the broadcast tonight, like Mandy and I both have mentors that, you know, we reach out to, if not weekly, on a daily basis, and questioning, support, different things that surrounding yourself by people you respect, and I think all of those items are extremely important for young professionals in this career.
Good stuff. Mandy, do you have anything to add to that?
My biggest thing that I would add to young professionals coming, you know, opening their own programs is make sure that you put money aside for retirement, or put money aside for an emergency situation, or, you know, find somehow you're going to financially support yourself in the future if something does happen. I believe in the 401ks, the investing, financial advisors, something, but have something that you're putting aside, because you know, when you're in your 70s or 60s, you might not want to be doing this as hard as we are right now. And I think that, you know, you want to financially set yourself up for success and not be like, well, what did I just do for the last 40 years?
Right.
You know, so.
That's great advice. Great advice.
So my last little topic here for both you two, what do you guys do for balance? Like, how do you guys balance your lives out a little bit? Is there something you guys like to do? Go out to dinner, you know, just something off the beaten path, going in the boat, you know, stuff like that.
You have a boat?
No, but
no.
Oh, I saw a picture of Ryan driving a boat.
Yeah, rented. I would say we kind of talked about earlier, like Ryan, you know, likes his little projects that he works on with the tractors and fixing up first gen trucks. That's a real big hobby of his. My hobby is flowers. I plant a lot of flowers. Yeah, I maybe went a little crazy this year with the new house, but that's okay. So, and then for us together, you know, we do enjoy going out to eat, and we enjoy cooking at home, and we enjoy, you know, maybe watching TV programs together, because we don't watch a lot of TV. So movie night on Friday, maybe, that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Ryan?
Yeah, so I do think that it's kind of important to emphasize in this profession, right, or any profession where you're with your spouse or a significant other that much, it's hard and it takes work, right? And I do think I think that that's an aspect not to take for granted, because you're with that person essentially from the start of the day to the end of your day, right? And that's that's something that does take work. And I think the biggest thing for us probably is that we really try to at some point turn the professional switch off and turn the personal switch on. In terms of, at the end of the day, I enjoy cooking, and I enjoy background music and while I'm cooking, and I think that those are the little things that I don't, I've talked about horses and we've talked about business and we've talked about horse shows through the entire day. And I feel like having that separation of time for just your personal life, let's visit about other things, our parents, our friends or whatever, and visit about things that aren't necessarily associated in our personal lives. I think is important to designate a little time there. Just to be able to step away, and it's not because we don't enjoy what we do, but it's just to have that little bit of time where you feel that personal commitment to that other person.
You're muted.
It's raining out here, right? So it's like I'm trying to turn it off. My last question for Ryan, and I'm gonna have Mandy answer it actually. At first, when I met you, Ryan, I don't think you're a dog guy. And then you became a dog guy. How'd that work? Man,
he's also a cat person now too.
Yeah, you're right. The cats too.
That's a stretch.
Too. So he wasn't a big dog cat guy, and then Mandy came, and then he kind of adapted. So how'd that work?
It was a package deal, Tim.
Yeah.
Like the dogs had to come too. So that was the only option. He had to.
Spencer was an outside dog, and he became an inside dog. How'd that crazy?
Spencer and I had to work really hard to win Ryan over. We worked hard for like 6 months to win Ryan over, but we eventually wiggled our way into the house and then now into the bed.
Wow.
I was there first week Spencer was there. I was there. I remember that.
You've come a long way.
Yeah, and he's
Ryan.
adorable. And Ryan loves him a lot now.
Okay, that's my final question, you guys. I really appreciate you guys tonight. You guys did an awesome job. You did your homework well. You nailed it.
Great.
Bradford?
Great interview. It's exactly what we were hoping for when we had you two on our list here of people that we wanted to have on. Great information. So impressed with the professionalism that you guys put forth, but also feels like a very caring program in a way, very specialized program. And you guys, I think, just from what I see at the horse shows, do a great job of blending both things. You keep good order, but you have a good time too. And that there's a lot of people that can't do that. So kudos to you guys. Thank you for giving up your Friday evening to do this for us, because I think you're an hour later than we are. So yeah, I think it's no, we're the same time.
Same.
Oh, all right, good deal.
Well, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, we'll see you in Georgia. Looking forward to that.
Stop by the show?
Yeah, stop by and say hi at the show.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be going live there, so make sure you stop by and say hey for sure.
Yeah.
It'll be good to see you guys again. It's been a long time. Y'all stay put. We're going to just we're going to kick you off, but don't hang up yet. And then we will be right back with you guys while we just close up shop here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We had a great crowd. Great comments, just all the love pouring out for the Blue Crew. We want to be sure that we thank our sponsors once again. We thank everybody that's donated. If you're interested in keeping Keeping It Real show on, please go to the keepingitrealshow.com. Click that donate button there. And then again, go to our YouTube page, subscribe to that. It's free. Subscribe to the YouTube page, and let's go from there. I believe my camera battery just died, Tim. So that's why you can hear me, but you can't see me because it happened the other night. But we had such a great show. It went so long because there was just so much great information. So anyway, thank you, everybody. We're going to kick it off to Kona, let him say goodnight, and then we'll see you guys on Monday with Bruce Vickery.
Bruce Vickery, Monday night.
This has been a Kona Cam production. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.